After showing us mostly the comedy show elements for the first 3 episodes, last week the creators of WandaVision finally caught us up with what is going on beyond Westview, in the real world. Big question is now, will they revert to the old formula or, as I hoped, break the mold by finding a solid balance between presenting both sides of a story going forward? Hi there, it's Micha. Let's answer the question together. Well, there's good news, because the concept was adjusted, as we all hoped, but anything else wouldn't have made much sense from a storytelling perspective. So we are in for another fine episode this week. Let's review how they changed the format and what else they revealed in episode 5. As I'm not an expert on Marvel comics, I will, as usual, concentrate on the MCU perspective of things and look up the most common Easter eggs and theories online to share with you. As long as those are not clear-cut spoilers. So, here we go. This episode starts inside Westview, now in the 80s, but not presented in 3:4 TV ratio anymore. Wanda and Vision are busy taking care of the twins, where she realizes that her powers have no effect on them. Admitting she could need help with the little ones, the door opens and Agnes enters the scene, ready to engage.
Hiya, kids! Auntie Agnes is here and I've got a couple of tricks up my sleeve.
But as Vision's safety concerns keep her from picking them up, she appears to be at a loss, like on a theater stage. After someone rewrote the script, having no idea how to react now.
Let's just take it from the top.
Confused, she turns to Wanda, asking, "Do you want me to take this again? From the top?" Creating an awkward moment, adding to Vision's suspicion that things are not what they seem. A moment later, the twins appear on the stairs, aged to about 5 or 6 years, making Agnes say, "Kids, can't control them no matter how hard you try." Next up, an 80s sitcom title sequence, highly inspired by Family Ties, Growing Pains and Full House, among other contemporary influences. We then pick up with Monica Rambeau being examined and debriefed, describing being under the mental control of Wanda, hearing her voice in her head and feeling her grief. Her x-rays appear empty, but due to an update briefing, Monica leaves the medical unit. There, the Westview anomaly, as it is now called, although Darcy tries to make the Hex stick as a designation, based on all the hexagon shapes and a nice little double entendre, is officially attributed to Wanda, moving her from victim to culprit. A quick Maximoff history lesson by director Hayward paints a picture of Wanda as the radicalized Hydra terrorist she started out as, while Jimmy Woo tries to remind everyone she since joined the Avengers and became a hero. Monica speaks up for Wanda, saying that things could be worse. Though being controlled, she didn't feel any premeditated act of aggression and wasn't physically harmed, even when thrown out of a bubble. She's sure Wanda is trying to minimize whatever is going on. The director then shares 9-day-old footage of Wanda breaking into S.W.O.R.D.'s HQ and stealing Vision's body, to reanimate it even against Vision's living will, as he didn't want to become anybody's weapon. Nobody seems to understand how she was able to actually bring him back though. In Westview, the twins have found a puppy and took it in. While Vision and Wanda discuss keeping it, Agnes shows up with a doggy house. Exactly the thing they needed, as Vision remarks. Wanda then conjures up a collar, while Agnes stands next to her. To the worried Vision, she answers that Agnes never notices anything, not even the kids growing 6 years in the blink of an eye. She suggests that maybe both of them don't need to hide their abilities to fit in. The parents decide the boys can't take the dog until they are about 10 years old, which makes them look at each other and grow again, to the age of about 10 years. Which Agnes just commands with a joke. Outside Westview, Darcy and Monica find a theoretical solution to enter the anomaly in a vehicle without being changed, though it will take some time and effort. Monica mentions an aerospace engineer she knows who might be able to help. Monica also reveals that all inside the Hex is real, not hallucination, establishing Wanda to be much more powerful than seen before. Not as strong as Captain Marvel, Jimmy interjects. But this seems to be a taboo topic for Monica. The three investigators also uncover that everything going into the anomaly is changing using the same parts, making it fit the epoch. Monica's 70s clothes are largely made of Kevlar, as she went in with a bulletproof vest, suggesting that Wanda can permanently rewrite reality. That introduced the idea of what would happen if they sent in technology from that decade that doesn't need to change. Meanwhile, Vision receives an early form of email containing the adapted version of an actual communique about the anomaly, calling it the Maximoff anomaly. Using his powers, he temporarily frees Norm from his mental block. He tells him that she controls him, that it hurts and he should help him to make her stop. At home, Wanda also needs to make sure not to be caught in a lie by their boys, as they also start to notice strange things, ending up teaching them about the importance and dynamics of family. They all go outside as a drone is closing in, an old one with tech from the 80s, slipping in without changing and therefore providing data. As Wanda doesn't engage with it when being hailed, Director Hayward orders the drone to fire at Wanda. A plan B Monica wasn't told about. This action makes Wanda leave the anomaly to talk to the agents, after hurling the defunct drone at them. "You don't bother me, I don't bother you," is the message. And after Monica tries to bargain, she says, "I have what I want, and no one will ever take it from me again." We then have a short commercial for Lagos paper towels. For when you make a mess, you didn't mean to. In Westview, the twins' dog just died after eating poisonous leaves. The kids ask Wanda to bring him back, with Agnes asking if she can really do that. Without an answer, she explains to her boys that some things are forever, like death, and you have to face the pain. Back at home, Vision confronts Wanda with what he learned from Norm, and that she can't just keep hurting people and changing things overnight to distract him. That she can't control him like the others. With her answer, "Can't I?" the sitcom's credits are setting in, though the topic is far from over. Vision rains questions down on her and states that he believes that whatever this is, he hopes that it started unconsciously and she just recently became aware of it. She denies to understand what he means, and he accuses her of lying to him. Wanda asks him to let her handle it, that it is all for us. He wants to know what lies outside of Westview. "You don't want to know. You don't get to make this choice for me." Vision then reveals to have no memory of what happened before Westview. As Wanda asks, "You are my husband and the twins' father, isn't that enough?" he calms down. He asks why there are no children though. After denying to be controlling everything, Wanda says that she has no idea how it started, with Vision interjecting that it is wrong. When the doorbell rings, making Vision think that was a literal Saved by the Bell situation created by Wanda.
Wanda, who is this?
When she opens the door, her brother is standing there. But not really, as it is not the Quicksilver we know from the Avengers. It is the Quicksilver from the X-Men movies. Watching from outside, Darcy comments with, "She recasts Pietro?" which ends the episode. This was so far the longest episode with a whopping 39 minutes, and it had a lot to say, as you might have noticed by the way longer synopsis this week. The ball now really is rolling. I said at the beginning that I firmly believe that the series will end up being fantastic. It just risked a slow start. I'm happy, though not surprised, that this turned out to be true. Let's start this week's analysis directly by diving into my take on what is going on, as I'm burning to get it out there. Not sure if something similar is a popular theory in the web already. Pretty sure I'm not the only one who came up with that, but maybe it is an original take. I'm pretty certain there's an enormous red herring ahead around Wanda being the engineer of the anomaly. Everyone is saying Wanda is in control and therefore must have created the bubble. Maybe, maybe not, but at least not consciously. This is what I'm certain of. There is another presence that is trying to control Wanda, keeping her under their thumb. We hear her saying that she doesn't know how it started and asked if Vision really believes she would be able to control all the little bits and pieces around town. Maybe this other being has used Wanda to create the hex, borrowing her powers. Or Wanda ended up there to stop what is going on and got caught like all the others. In both cases, she isn't aware how it started, but as she becomes more and more aware, realizing that Vision can stay with her as long as they are inside the bubble, she uses her powers to make sure of it. upholding the bubble, no matter how it was created. And I think this being is Agnes for several reasons. She always shows up with what is needed, even if Wanda doesn't know about it yet, like the doghouse. She still isn't identified by S.W.O.R.D, and she isn't even shocked by Wanda's powers and all that is happening. The "should we take it from the top" blip, where Agnes was made out to be a victim, an actor in a play, ultimately spoke more to the opposite. Wanda couldn't control her, so she didn't know what to say, and just acted as if Wanda controls her, confusing her. Wanda obviously was surprised by her pregnancy and has no control over her twins, so at least something seems to be going on that someone else set in motion. And Agnes even commented that kids can't be controlled, no matter how hard you tried. So maybe she tried herself and failed? Wanda might have already been under mind control when she stole Vision's body, as an incentive to keep the anomaly going after gaining back some control. I could even imagine that so far Vision isn't alive yet, as Wanda saw him last week shortly as the dead body. And based on Agnes's reaction when the twins asked Wanda to bring the dog back to life. Something Agnes was surprised about. If Agnes really is the one controlling Wanda and Wanda's powers were used to create the bubble, then maybe even Agnes wasn't aware of how mighty she actually is. In any case, I'm sure that at the end of the show, Vision will come out alive, as I can't imagine Marvel put us through all that without a solid payoff. And the fact that Paul Bettany is not listed in the cast of the new Doctor Strange movie, in which Elizabeth Olsen stars, is another red herring. We are supposed to think he is gone, but he might be revealed as cast later on. Or his character is just not around for that adventure. And one other thing I think is telling. The people being controlled always say that she is hurting them, that she is in charge. They never say Wanda, but making us think it is her. In case of Monica, it certainly was Wanda to some degree, but that was later on, as she leveraged her powers to her agenda. What if she is Agnes? And is she also the witness Jimmy was looking for? Or who will this be and what function will they have in the show? Agnes could still be Agatha Harkness, Wanda's mentor from the comics, becoming this in the MCU later along the way. Another thing we can be quite certain of, the being controlling Wanda is not from our world, likely from another parallel Earth. We know that Marvel is opening the multiverse doors soon and Doctor Strange is a big part of it. I guess that creature comes from the universe in which the Fox movies around the X-Men take place. And this is why. Her brother shows up, but it is not the Quicksilver from our reality. I believe that in an effort to distract Wanda, whoever partially controls her read her mind and found out about her brother, Pietro Maximoff, and created a version of him based on their world's version. The only one they know. To recap the theory in a nutshell. A rift between different realities or Earths opened up in Westview. Someone, likely Agnes, came over, likely from a reality where the X-Men exists, making them canon, and took control of a town by creating illusions to hide themselves, for reasons unknown. They hijacked Wanda's mind to use her powers to make the illusion, bit by bit, reality, utilizing Vision's body as incentive, not even realizing how strong Wanda is. The plan so far works, as Wanda is now actively keeping the barrier around Westview up. To protect Vision. Another nod to the reality rift theory might be the Lagos commercial, as the city of Lagos plays a central role in the MCU. It is where Wanda moved a bomb away from the people, but not far enough to prevent all casualties, while Largo is also a central place in the first Wolverine solo movie. But there's another thing worth mentioning. When talking about building a way to get into the anomaly, Monica mentions an aerospace engineer who might help. Even I know that this very likely might end up being Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four, as a Google search verifies him to be the most popular aerospace engineer in the Marvel Universe. And the internet is going wild around that fact, as the same cosmic radiation presented in WandaVision apparently created the Fab Four. So if we meet Reed, he likely had some adventures in space already, as Monica was also active there before the blip, but is not a superhero yet. Hopefully we get a nice setup for a solo movie. The rumor mill is grinding, from cast details like John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, up to a possible big introduction in the next Spider-Man, suggested by S.W.O.R.D's activity shown in the end credits. Other random observations. They didn't use the 3x4 TV format this week, as that was more reserved for the episodes where we watched the censored TV feed. We are now getting glimpses into the unedited reality inside the bubble, so no visual hint needed to that effect anymore. But they still softened the image a bit, like the picture looked back then when they started to produce mostly on video, as a nice little nod to the 80s. Monica's X-rays apparently are strange, but the fact was laughed away by Jimmy. I wondered how she actually was allowed to leave before that was figured out. It bothered me a bit, as precautions usually are high, but we can be sure that there is something more around that issue coming up soon. In any case, the investigating triumvirate of a show is now established as being Monica, Jimmy and Darcy, which is a good fit. Like to see more of them. Captain Marvel was a taboo topic for Monica. What's going on? Do they prepare to get rid of Brie Larson, as some rumors suggests? The fanbase is really split about her, and there are stories she doesn't play well with her fellow castmates. No idea if that is true, but it would be a pity. I like her in that role. After Wanda has no dialect in the TV world, outside of Westview, which I just realized has the same initials as WandaVision, her East European accent is back. Might be another hint that she is controlled, because if she can make it disappear inside, why doesn't she do the same outside the bubble? And we know now that Vision has no memory of what happened before Westview, which is a nice reveal, but doesn't particularly support any popular theory more than the other. But that is what they are doing now in the show all the time, revealing bits and pieces left and right. And we like that. They have found a nice balance of showing us the inside reality with growing relevance and intercutting the real world outside. Nice job. Again, I never doubted that, it was just not present in the first episodes. Let's check out what theories the internet has in store for us. This week mostly smaller things, like the question if Agnes killed the dog and was in the process of burying him when Wanda and the kids met her. Which would add to my theory that she might be the controlling force, though the reason for killing the dog might be a bit woozy. One suggestion I found: did the dog witness something he shouldn't? As one of the twins in the comics and suggested in the show by him sometimes touching his temple, being a telepath, could explain that, as he was teaching the dog tricks that way and might be able to read his mind. Would this also give another meaning to Agnes's shocked question, "You could do that?" regarding bringing the dog back to life? Which then would be a problem for Agnes. Another fact highlighted was that when Wanda gets Vision's body, I couldn't see his body anywhere in the footage, because it was already dissected by sword, with lots of bits and pieces lying around. That might have been the reason she took him in the first place, as Vision didn't want to be used to create weapons, which makes director Hayward a hypocrite and dirtbag, as he obviously didn't respect that wish himself. That was what the internet suggested. Let's look at the rating. Again, I was very happy this week. They gave us more plot than in the first 3 episodes combined, really kicking it up a notch. I will rate this one with 8 out of 10 again, with the belief that future episodes will exceed that rating. How did you like this one? Have you any theory yourself? Let me know in the comments. That's it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, like it and feel free to share it with your friends. And why not subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any future video. Make sure to also hit the notification bell to get a heads up whenever a new video is posted. So much for now, see you next time and thanks for watching!